Dear weary heart, I'm writing to you in this quiet moment, wherever you are, however you've arrived here. Maybe you're sitting in a room where the light falls softly through a window. Maybe you're lying down, finally still after a day that asked too much. Maybe you're somewhere in between, neither here nor there, just trying to breathe. I want you to know that I see you. Not the version of you that shows up for everyone else, the capable one, the reliable one, the one who always knows what to say. I see the you beneath all that, the one who is so tired, the one who has been holding things together for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to let go. You've been strong for a very long time, haven't you? And somewhere along the way, being strong became who you are. It became your role, your identity, the thing people expect from you. When someone needs help, they come to you. When something falls apart, you're the one who picks up the pieces. And you do it. You always do it, because that's what you do. But here's what I want you to consider, just for a moment. What if you didn't have to be strong right now? What if, just for the length of this letter, you could set down all the weight you've been carrying? Not forever, not even for long. Just here, just now. Take a breath, a real one, not the shallow kind you've been taking all day, the kind that barely reaches your chest. I mean the kind that fills your lungs completely, that presses against your ribs, that reminds you that your body is still here, still working, still doing its best to take care of you, even when you forget to take care of it. Breathe in slowly. Hold it for a moment. Then let it go, like releasing something you've been gripping too tightly. There, that's a start. I wonder how long it's been since someone asked you how you really are. Not in passing, not as a pleasantry, but truly. How long has it been since someone looked at you and saw past the armor you wear? Past the smile you've perfected, past the "I'm fine" you've learned to say so convincingly. Maybe it's been a while. Maybe it's been so long that you've forgotten how to answer that question honestly, even to yourself. So I'm asking you now, how are you, really? Are you tired? The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix? The kind that lives in your bones, in the space behind your eyes, in the heaviness of your limbs when you wake up in the morning? Are you lonely? Even when you're surrounded by people, especially then, because no one seems to see the real you anymore, only the role you play. Are you uncertain about where you're going, about whether you're doing enough, about whether any of this matters the way you thought it would? Are you burned out from giving and giving and giving until you're not sure there's anything inside you to give? If any of this resonates, even a little, I want you to know you're not broken, you're not failing, you're not weak. You're human, and you're exhausted, and that makes perfect sense. There's a particular kind of loneliness that comes from being the strong one. It's the loneliness of always being the container for everyone else's feelings while having nowhere to put your own. It's the loneliness of being needed but not known, of being valued for what you do, not for who you are. You've become so good at holding space for others that you've forgotten you need space too. You've become so practiced at listening that you've lost your own voice. You've become so reliable that people have forgotten you might need someone to rely on. And here's the cruel irony. The better you get at being strong, the less permission you feel to be anything else. The more you show up for others, the more they expect it. The more you carry, the more gets piled onto your shoulders. Until one day you look around and realize you're carrying weight that was never yours to carry in the first place. Someone else's anxiety, someone else's disappointment, someone else's expectations of who you should be. And your own needs, your own tiredness, your own sadness, your own longing for rest have been pushed down so far that you barely recognize them anymore. They've become whispers you've learned to ignore, nudges you've learned to dismiss, aches you've learned to live with. But they're still there. They've always been there, waiting for you to turn toward them, waiting for you to listen. I want to tell you about water. Have you ever noticed how water moves? How it doesn't fight, doesn't force, doesn't push? It flows around obstacles. It finds the path of least resistance. It pools in low places and rests there, still and quiet, until something shifts and it can move again. Water doesn't apologize for needing to rest in the hollow places. It doesn't feel guilty for being still. It simply is. You've been taught to be like a river, always moving, always productive, always flowing towards some destination. But right now, maybe you need to be like water in a quiet pool. Maybe you need to be still. Maybe you need to rest in the low places without shame, without urgency, without the pressure to keep moving forward. Maybe you need to remember that stillness is not the same as stagnation, that rest is not the same as giving up, that pausing is not the same as failing. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is stop. Let me ask you something. When did you start believing that your worth was tied to your usefulness? When did you learn that love was something you had to earn through constant availability, through unwavering strength, through never needing anything in return? When did you decide that taking care of yourself was selfish, that asking for help was weakness, that admitting you're struggling was a burden? These beliefs didn't come from nowhere. Somewhere along the way, someone taught you, maybe explicitly, maybe through their silence, that your needs were less important than everyone else's, that your pain was less valid, that your exhaustion was something to power through, not something to honor. But here's the truth that no one may have told you. You are not a machine. You are not an infinite resource. You are not meant to give endlessly without receiving. You are not meant to be strong all the time. You are a whole, complex, beautiful being who deserves care, who deserves rest, who deserves to be held with the same tenderness you offer to everyone else. And that care doesn't have to come from someone else before it's valid. You can give it to yourself. You can be the one who finally says, enough. You've done enough. You are enough. Rest now. I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking about all the things that still need to be done, all the people who are counting on you, all the ways that stopping, even for a moment, feels impossible or irresponsible or indulgent. I understand. I really do. And I know it's hard to believe this when you've spent so long being the foundation for everyone else. But you matter too. Your rest matters. Your peace matters. Your joy matters. Not because of what you do for others, not because of how useful you are, but simply because you exist, because you're here, because your life, your experience, your inner world has inherent value. You don't have to earn the right to take care of yourself. You already have it. Let's talk about seasons for a moment. In autumn, trees let go of their leaves. They don't apologize for it. They don't feel guilty about it. They don't worry that they're letting anyone down by becoming bare. They simply release what they can no longer sustain, trusting that spring will come again, that there will be time for new growth, but that right now, in this season, the work is to let go and conserve energy. Winter comes and everything rests. The earth itself becomes still. Seeds lie dormant in the frozen ground. Animals hibernate. The whole world seems to pause, to turn inward, to wait. And no one calls winter lazy. No one accuses the trees of being unproductive. No one shames the bear for sleeping through the cold months. Because everyone understands this is part of the cycle. This is necessary. Without winter, there can be no spring. Without rest, there can be no renewal. So why do we forget this when it comes to ourselves? Why do we expect to be in a constant state of spring and summer, always growing, always blooming, always giving? Why do we resist our own winters? Maybe you're in a winter right now. Maybe you've been in one for a while. Maybe that's why you're so tired, because you've been trying to bloom in a season that's meant for rest. What if you stopped fighting it? What if you let yourself be in winter without shame? What if you trusted that spring will come, not because you force it, but because that's what spring does? It comes when it's ready. It comes when the season turns. It comes when you've given yourself the rest you need. I want to acknowledge something that might be difficult to hear. Some people in your life might not understand this shift. Some people might resist when you start setting boundaries, when you start saying no, when you start prioritizing your own needs. This doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means they've gotten used to you being available in a certain way. It means they've come to rely on your constant strength. And when that changes, even in healthy ways, it can feel uncomfortable for them. But their discomfort is not your responsibility to fix. Their adjustment is not your burden to carry. You've spent so long making sure everyone else is comfortable that you've made yourself deeply uncomfortable. You've twisted yourself into shapes that fit everyone else's needs while ignoring your own. You've silenced your own voice to make space for theirs. And now as you start to untwist, as you start to take up space again, as you start to speak, yes, some people might not like it. Some people might tell you you've changed. Some people might even pull away. Let them. Because the people who truly love you, not the idea of you, not the convenient version of you, but the real you, those people will understand. They'll adjust. They'll support you in becoming more fully yourself, not less. They'll celebrate your boundaries instead of resenting them. They'll want you to rest, to heal, to find your way back to yourself. And if someone can't do that, if someone only values you when you're depleting yourself for their benefit, then maybe they weren't meant to be part of this next chapter of your life. It's okay to let go of relationships that require you to abandon yourself. It's okay to outgrow people who can't grow with you. It's okay to choose you. You know what's interesting about exhaustion? It has a way of stripping things down to their essence. When you're this tired, you can't pretend anymore. You can't maintain the facade. You can't keep up appearances. And while that feels vulnerable and uncomfortable, and sometimes even frightening, there's also something clarifying about it, something honest. Because maybe this exhaustion is showing you what actually matters. Maybe it's revealing what you've been doing out of obligation rather than love. Maybe it's exposing the places where you've been living according to someone else's script instead of your own. Maybe this breaking point is actually a breakthrough point, a place where the old ways finally crack open and something new becomes possible. What if your exhaustion is not a failure, but a teacher? What if it's here to show you that the life you've been living is too small for who you really are? That the role you've been playing is too limiting? That you've been giving your energy to things that don't truly feed you? What if this moment, this tired, overwhelmed, burned out moment, is actually an invitation? An invitation to reimagine, to restructure, to rebuild your life around what truly matters to you, not what matters to everyone else. What if you could look at your exhaustion not as an enemy to overcome, but as a messenger to listen to? What is it telling you? What needs to change? What do you need to release? What do you need to protect? What do you need to say no to so you can finally say yes to yourself? I'm going to tell you something that might sound strange. You don't have to figure all of this out right now. All you have to do right now is this: acknowledge that you're tired. That's it. That's the first step. Say it out loud if you can. Whisper it if that's easier. Write it down. Admit it to yourself in whatever way feels true. I'm tired. I'm so tired. And that's okay. Because once you acknowledge it, once you stop pretending, stop pushing through, stop telling yourself you should be able to handle more, something shifts. A little space opens up, a little breath of possibility. From that space, you can start to make small changes, not big dramatic ones, not overnight transformations, just small, gentle adjustments. Maybe you start by saying no to one thing this week, just one, something that drains you, something you're only doing out of obligation. Say no and notice what happens. Notice the guilt that might come up. Notice the fear, but also notice the relief, the tiny bit of space you've created, the small act of choosing yourself. Or maybe you start by asking for help with one thing, just one, something you've been carrying alone that you don't actually have to carry alone. Ask and see what happens. See if the world really does fall apart, or maybe, just maybe, it keeps turning anyway. Or maybe you start by doing one thing that's purely for you, not productive, not useful to anyone else, just something that brings you a moment of peace or joy or pleasure. Take a bath, read a book, sit in the sun, watch the clouds. Let yourself have that without guilt, without immediately moving on to the next task on the list. Small steps, that's all you need. Small steps in the direction of a life where you matter too, where your needs count, where you're not just the person who shows up for everyone else, but someone who shows up for yourself. As this letter comes to a close, I want to paint you a picture, an image to carry with you. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the ocean. It's evening. The sun is low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink and soft purple. The water stretches out endlessly before you, calm and vast. You've been carrying something heavy. You're not even sure what it is anymore. It's just weight. A collection of all the expectations, the responsibilities, the worries, the ways you've had to be strong for so long. And as you stand there at the edge of the water, you realize you can set it down. You can put it in the sand at your feet. You can step away from it. You can walk into the water without it. So you do. You wade in slowly. The water is cool against your skin. It holds you, supports you, without asking anything in return. You don't have to be anything here. You don't have to do anything. You can just float, just breathe, just be. The waves rock you gently like the rhythm of a heartbeat, like a lullaby. The weight you are carrying is somewhere back on the shore, getting smaller and smaller the farther you drift. And you realize it was never as heavy as you thought. Or maybe it was, but you don't have to carry it anymore. Maybe you never did. The water holds you. The sky spreads above you. And for the first time in so long, you feel something close to peace, something close to relief, something close to coming home to yourself. Dear one, I want to leave you with this. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to let go of the weight you've been carrying. You are allowed to stop being strong for a while. You are allowed to take care of yourself with the same compassion you've always extended to everyone else. You are not less valuable when you admit you're struggling. You are not less worthy when you ask for help. You are not less important when you choose yourself. You are enough, exactly as you are, right now, even in your exhaustion, even in your uncertainty, even in your beautiful, messy, imperfect humanity. The world will keep turning if you rest. The people who truly love you will understand. And you will find your way back to yourself. Not the version of you that everyone else needs, the version of you that's been waiting patiently beneath all that armor to finally be seen, to finally be free. Take your time. Be gentle with yourself. Trust the process. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. And know that you're not alone. Even in your loneliest moments, even when it feels like no one understands, there are others out there who have felt the same exhaustion, this same weight, who have had to learn slowly and painfully to choose themselves, to rest, to let go. You're part of that quiet community of people who are learning to be human again, not just useful. To take up space, not just make space for others. To live, not just survive. Welcome home to yourself, dear one. Welcome home. With so much love, someone who sees you.